I've said that I don't think the Florida Gators will win this game. But if they do, here's how.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free reviews in the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Friday. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And like I've said, straight up, I don't think that the Florida Gators win this game tomorrow. And it's not that I don't want them to. I know that I am fully on board with Fire Billy Napier. That is what I think is best for the program. However, I will always want the Florida Gators to win every single game. Because guess what? That's always what I've wanted to do. I've always wanted the Florida Gators to win every single game. And they've lost despite that. So I don't think that me wanting them to win or wanting them to lose is going to make an impact on it. But I don't know. Look, I'm a competitor. I like to win. I'm going to hope that they win regardless of the situation. And again, they will lose games that I want them to win. They've done it before. They will continue to do it. This might be one of I especially want them to beat UCF, which it's very ironic that going into the summer and then really up until the Miami game, we were talking about if Florida can sweep this state, it's very possible that Florida gets swept. That's kind of crazy. But the Florida Gators need to defend the run against UCF. They are the second best rushing offense in the country right now, behind only Army, which is an option team. So they only run the football. So this is an offense that throws the ball and still has the second most effective run game in the country. Doesn't bode well for Florida. However, this is my approach to things. If I'm on this Florida staff, this is my pitch to you, okay? Every single down, we're coming out with two of the interior linemen. Your nose tackle, whoever that's going to be on that play, and your big end, whoever that's going to be, okay? We're going to have an F there as well. We are going to have a stand-up edge rusher as well. We are going to have two off-ball linebackers as well, okay? So if you're keeping track, that's 6 players there that we're talking about. And if there's 5 offensive linemen and a running back, there it is. I am, however, also keeping either a safety or a nickel in the box there, okay? That's my plan. Like, I'm saying, hey, I dare you to throw this ball right now. Because here's the thing. I'm going to have that set up, right? The 7 men in the box setup with, again, 2 interior defensive linemen, an F who's like a hybrid, we can call them the strong side edge, whatever you want to call them. The jack, 2 off-ball linebackers, safety or nickel. So it could be Sharif Denson, could be Jordan Castell, could be whoever's going to be out there at that time, right? And I'm telling them, hey, your first read is run every single time. Doesn't mean fire in always, but your first read is run, okay? And if it's a pass, we're sitting in a zone, okay? We're sitting in, I don't care if it's cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, I don't care. We're sitting in a zone because I think that's your best way to beat UCF. I don't think there's any clear-cut way to beat UCF like that, right? I think that they're a pretty good football team. I think despite the loss to Colorado, they're better than people have kind of given them credit for. And so I look at them and I go, all right, I think they're a pretty good football team. I don't think that they're as one-dimensional. I think that they've been running the football so well and so often that's why they get to continue just running the football. They've been really effective with it. I do think that they have a passing game that can threaten you. However, I'm going to make them use that passing game if I'm a defense. I think you have to kind of stack the box. You could say 7 if you want to stack. I'm putting 7 in the box. And again, we're sitting there and playing zone. Because here's the thing also. You're going to see RPOs, right? You're going to see options. You're going to see a whole bunch of stuff, right? If you're reading run first, you can say, all right, I see the handoff, I'm coming down. Like, I see the handoff, I'm coming downhill there. Makes sense. If they get ready to throw the ball, you've got guys with eyes in the backfield. That helps you in 2 ways. First off, 1, creepers might actually be effective this time against UCF. And 2, you've got eyes in the backfield. That allows you to watch what's going on in front of you. Because you know who else is in the backfield? KJ Jefferson. You know what KJ Jefferson does pretty well? Runs people over. Runs the ball. If I'm saying, hey, let's sit in a zone, because think about it this way. If you're playing man coverage, guy runs a crosser, guy runs a post, guy runs whatever downfield, he's running vertical, my back's turned. I'm not looking at QB. I'm with my guy. I'm not looking at the QB. I'm with my assignment. You know what that means? If they're going downfield and we're playing man, KJ Jefferson's going to be able to run. And here's the thing. I know everybody's going to go, well, just put a spy on him. Here's the thing. They tried that last year. But there's a very big distinction between KJ Jefferson and a lot of other mobile quarterbacks. There's a very big distinction between KJ Jefferson and how quarterbacks react in video games when you get too close. Okay? Do you catch my drift? I kind of mentioned it before. KJ Jefferson will bowl people over. Like you could say, oh yeah, just put a spy. They did that last year and their spy got pummeled multiple times. KJ Jefferson's a really big dude. He's 260 pounds. It's tough to bring that down on your own. You sit in zone and at least you get your eyes on him and you can come downhill at him and limit that, right? Push him out, go low. I don't care what you do. The difference between video games is that in video games, just about every quarterback, once you get close, slides. That's not how it works in real life, right? There's some of these quarterbacks like KJ Jefferson, like we've seen DJ Lagway do, where they know, hey, I'm stronger than you. I'm going to run through your face. And KJ can do that. Also, keep in mind, RJ Harvey's really fast, and Penny Boone will also run through your face. So it's a tough offense to handle. Kobe Hudson at receivers, pretty damn good. Not going to lie to you. Fan of his. But yeah, it's not an easy offense to defend at all. I want to make that abundantly clear. It's not as simple as, oh yeah, stick 7 in the box, sit in the zone, and make stops. No, you're going to get beat doing that. I just think that's your best strategy. As in, when I say you're going to get beat, I don't mean you're going to lose doing that. I mean that they're still going to pick up yards. They're still going to score points when you defend like that. But you come playing like crazy aggressive, make the stops, force them in the passing situations. Like KJ Jefferson's not a good passer. He's just not. Like when you watch him play, and I mentioned this, I think it was yesterday's show when I was talking about it. Something about it, he just doesn't look like he's got the same zip on his passes as he had earlier in his career at Arkansas. I don't know if it's from all the plowing through people that his shoulders hurt or whatever it may be, but his passes don't have the same zip as the guy that I remember when he was younger, we were talking about him in the NFL draft circle because that's how I got my start in media, covering the NFL draft. And I remember talking about him in the NFL draft circles, and people were like, oh man, like he's as close to Cam Newton as you're going to get. He's just a tank that can run people over, throw the ball far, throw the ball fast, and make some plays. And now you look at him and it's like, I feel like all of his passes kind of look like they're moving in slow motion. Sit in zone, test him, let him try to throw it deep. And if you've got a DB there, make a damn play on the ball. Again, I'm not saying that, oh, this is easy to do, beat them. But I am saying that there's a path, there's a right strategy, and there's a wrong strategy. And I will also like to point out that Florida, when I have made suggestions, like the Miami game, and they didn't listen, like the Texas A&M game, they got blown the hell out. We are going to talk about the Florida Gators offense because that's another part that doesn't worry me as much, but definitely needs to improve against UCF. We'll talk about that next on Locked On Gators. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So you get a hunch in the middle of the game. You can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You could also swipe one tab over, and it'll tell you all the bets you have involving that game. Like I've said before, like the UI with FanDuel has gotten way better over the years. I love it. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. I don't know if you can see the shirt that I've got, the Fun and Gun shirt for the Florida Gators. I don't know if you are a Florida Gators fan. I'd imagine you might be a UCF fan, though. It's the day before the game. I don't know if you're a significant other or a friend listening to this and you're a fan of another school. However, I know where you can get the best clothes for that school. Homefieldapparel.com. The comfiest t-shirts that I own. Like, so soft. Great designs. You've seen me wear the 2-bit shirt before. It's my favorite shirt. Nice bright orange, blue letter. It's a beautiful shirt. Love it. Very comfortable. And with code Gator24, you could save some money with homefieldapparel.com. Thanks for being Locked On Gators, your first listen of the day. Every day, we are available daily and free reviews in the podcast and on YouTube. And I talked about this a bit yesterday, but I think the way to beat UCF or the way to move the ball against UCF consistently, if you're Florida, is to kind of just take what's there. You know, I took the liberty of hitting the whiteboard before recording. So if you are watching on YouTube, you get to see the whiteboard. If you're not watching, you're not missing too much. It's extra credit, right? It's additional. You don't miss out. There's 2 fronts that I drew here, okay? This top one is what we call the penny front, okay? There's a stand-up edge rusher, or you could, I guess, go hand in the dirt, on each tackle outside the shoulder of each tackle. So left tackle, right tackle will both have an edge rusher outside their outside shoulder. So right tackle will have an edge rusher outside his right shoulder, left tackle, left shoulder. Okay, cool. Then you got a 4-eye or a 3-tech, depending on where they're lined up. If they're lined up on the inside shoulder of the tackle, they're a 4-eye. If they're on the outside shoulder of the guard, they're a 3-tech. And then you've got a 0-tech, your nose tackle, head up on the center. So on each side, you're going to have stand-up edge rusher outside the tackle. You're going to have hand in the dirt defensive lineman on either the inside shoulder of the tackle or the outside shoulder of the guard. And you're going to have your nose tackle head up with the center. Okay? That's called the penny front. It's really aggressive, gives you a lot of looks. You can do a lot from it. It's very common in the NFL nowadays. It's common in college nowadays. It's common. Again, part of that is because you've got 5 guys on the line there. Okay? If all 5 of them rush and there's no tight end to help and there's no running back to help, then guess what? You've got a one-on-one at 5 different spots. You've got 5 one-on-ones. Okay? One guy wins, your team wins that rep. Okay? If the offense keeps a tight end in the pass block and now you got 6-on-5, there's probably, 4 one-on-ones at that point? One guy getting doubled. Only 3 or 4 guys running routes. If a running back is kept in as well, then you've got 5-on-7, still 3 one-on-ones. 2 double teams. That's still favorable for the defense. It's a great approach. It's why teams use it. And it helps you have guys at the line, right? So that's something you're going to see from UCF. My recommendation there, get the ball out quickly to the backfield, hit a block and release maybe, or a check and release, whatever you want to call it, where maybe, I don't know, one of the tight ends is on the line. You got the edge rusher right in front of him, and it goes, hey, if the edge rusher rushes, I'm in pass pro. If the edge rusher drops in the coverage, I'm running a route. Things like that, because you're not going to send all 5 every time you show a penny front. The other one that I've got here is the one that I was talking about yesterday. It's really weird to me. It's nose tackle right above the center. It's a 5-tech So there's an edge defender on the outside shoulder of the tackles on both sides. And the one that I drew up is the way that it looked against Colorado. So you got head up on the center, you've got outside shoulder of each tackle, you've got 2 off-ball linebackers, and you've got 1 middle linebacker that comes down next to the nose tackle and gives you kind of just an additional, is he blitzing? Is he dropping back? What's our plan if he's doing whatever it may be. It's what I talked about where I said, because one of the 5 techs was hand in the dirt, one was stand up. And it's what I mentioned yesterday where they'll have 2 down linemen, a stand up edge rusher, and then maybe a linebacker coming down. That's what a 505 is called a Blazers front, according to Cody Alexander, who has been here before to talk about the defensive scheme. So it's what Cody calls a Blazers front, and it's what Mike Elko, the head coach of Texas A&M, what he calls a split front. That's the approach. If they're coming in light like that, run the ball, please. That's what I mean when I say take what's there. If they've got 5 guys on the line, if you're expecting a blitz, hit the quick check down. Just hit it into the flat to a running back, hit underneath to a receiver really quickly, things like that. If they're coming in light, run the ball at them. I don't care if that middle linebacker is coming down next to the nose tackle. Run the ball at them. Go, okay, I'll put my guard against your off-ball linebacker. No problem. Like you can make things happen. Like imagine they've got 3 down linemen. You've got in this situation, it was the Colorado game. 3 down linemen. You've got 2 offensive tackles, 2 offensive guards, a center, and a tight end. You can run duo and double every single player on the line of scrimmage there. Like I want to see, I'm going to be paying close attention to the pre-snap stuff because I want to see if we see that little light front, I want to see Graham go, hey, check, and run the football at them. Take what's there. Defensively, UCF is going to sit in zone coverage quite a bit. So they do. They got some good athletes. So they sit in zone coverage. They try to jump some routes. They try to make a play on the ball. It's smart. Not faulting them at all. But they're sitting in zone. Take the throw that's there. Okay? Every zone, theoretically, has a soft spot. Okay? See what's there. Just find the soft spot and make the throw. Move the sticks. Move the ball. Win the game. I think, and I don't think you can do that against every team. I don't think every team you can go, hey, just take what's there, move the sticks, win the game. But I do think that the way UCF approaches the game is that when you're on offense, you can kind of take what's there. Sure, they'll blitz, send a DB, send a linebacker. They'll blitz you, sure. Take what's there. Avoid negative plays. That's something you have to do if you're Florida and if you want a realistic chance at winning this game. Because again, I don't think Florida wins this game. I would love it if they did. But I think this is one of those games where you just got to go, hey, take what's there. They're stacking the box. Throw the ball. Just get rid of it quickly. Throw the ball. If you think they're blitzing, get rid of it quickly. If they come out in that light box, run the ball. Like obviously, things are easier said than done. But there's a path to winning this game. This just circles back to me saying, I am not confident in this coaching staff at all right now when it comes to can they get this team ready to play and can they win some games. I just don't have that kind of confidence in them right now. There is one more thing the entire team needs to do to win this game. We'll talk about that next on Locked On Gators. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so that you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. And like I've said, I love it. I get notifications for artists that I like, for artists that I know, and that I've looked at before. Like that's why when that Mexican OT was performing in New York, the way I found out about it was Game Time. When Shabuzi was Instagram. When Anita was performing in New York, the way I found out about it was Game Time. When Swaco, who I'm going to see at the end of this month, when he announced his tour in New York, the way that I found out about it was Game Time. Big X the Plug is performing in New York, I think in like a week. I'm not going to that one, but I found out about it through Game Time, and a New York Giant is going because you talked about it. There's that. And I only got to talk to him about it because I knew from Game Time. Take the guess. We're going to buy 6 of the Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Locked On College for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's Game Time. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. And I think maybe the most important part for the Florida Gators, and the most important thing here, might be to just play sound football. And by that, I mean that despite this being a team with, I don't know, let's say realistically 15 to 20 future NFL players, conservatively we'll say 15 to 20 future NFL players, whether or not they finish their college careers with the Florida Gators, 15 to 20 NFL players right now, they lack some strong technical aspects of just playing football. Missed tackles, for example, are disgusting. I need to get that out there. So last year, the Florida Gators missed 116 tackles. Okay? In 12 games, that's 9.667 tackles per game. So if you look at just the first 4 games of the season, like the Florida Gators have played so far, they would have 38 missed tackles, or between 38 and 39 missed tackles if they were on last year's pace. Okay? 38 to 39, 38 and a half. Right now, they're at 51 missed tackles. 51. So the Florida Gators, who stuck to tackling last year, missed 116 tackles. Which, let me just check something real quick. They missed 116 tackles, and the player that missed the most tackles, Scooby Williams with 15, Jaden Hill with 12, Miguel Mitchell with 10. Those were the 3 guys that missed double-digit tackles. Okay? DJ Douglas is already at 10 this year. So, last year, the leading missed tackler was 15. DJ is already at 10. Not a good number to be at. But now they're on pace for 153 missed tackles. 153 missed tackles. 132% increase. Yeah, not good, especially when you're facing a team that forces missed tackles at the rate that UCF does, especially when you're facing a team that's going to just have a lot of touches. That's one thing that UCF does really well that I think people overlook when you're talking about a team that struggles tackling, is when you're just on offense more, you're just giving yourself more opportunity. So it's not just, oh, they're bad tacklers. It's, oh, they're bad tacklers. Let's run the ball. Go up tempo. Get as many plays out of this as we can. Because for every play we call, there's more missed tackle opportunities for them. And they have proven to be susceptible to that. So that's going to be a BITCH for Florida. Is that they're going to get to just go, hey, you know what? Just run the hell out the ball, go up tempo, and they're going to miss tackles, and they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. Let's say you throw the ball. There have been a lot, and I mean a lot, of blown assignments in coverage during the first third of the season. You need to eliminate those. And I don't know what the issue is exactly. I've talked about this before in the show. I know that Ron Roberts, who shouldn't have a job, and Austin Armstrong, who should be calling the plays defensively, are both front 7 guys, right? They're pass rush plan guys. That's supposed to be their shtick. We're not talking about whether or not that's working right now. That's not what I'm on. They have been bad at doing that. Okay, we'll acknowledge that. But they're the pass rush guys. And from what I've been told, a lot of what they allow the secondary to do is kind of teach things your own way, but be like, hey, we're going to play a lot of cover 3. Hey, we're going to play a lot of cover 4. Teach it your way, but we're going to be playing these coverages. And And I feel like for the first third of the season, I was looking at defenses, at defensive plays, and I would look at, I don't know, Jason Marshall, and I'd be like, all right, like he's in cover 3. And then I'd look across the field and I'd see, I don't know, Devin Moore and Sharif Jensen. I don't know. And I'd be like, they look like they're playing man. And then I look at the safeties and I'm like, well, they look like they're playing cover 2, like straight up, not quarter, half, straight up cover 2. And then I look at the linebackers and they've all got eyes in the backfield, like they're sitting in cover 3 underneath. I guess you could also argue cover 2. But it's just there's so many times where I look at the defense and I'm just like, they're either playing the wildest hybrid coverage we've seen. One guy is screwing up and kind of making it all look nuts, or multiple people don't know where they're supposed to be and don't know what they're doing. And I want to make this clear. I'm faulting coaching for this. If it was one guy that kept, like DJ Douglas is the one that gets a lot of the flack, right? I give him flack for missed tackles. Some coverage assignments that I think were his fault that he blew. But if it were just him, okay, you could argue just him. But it's him. There's times where it looks like it's Jason Marshall. There's times where it looks like it's Jordan Castell. There's times where it looks like it's Devin Moore. It's every member of the secondary. I can't sit here and say, yeah, everybody in the secondary is screwing up or looks like they're screwing up, and it's not the coach's fault. I just can't. I can't get myself to do that. Like, I can't get myself to look at an entire unit screw up and be like, oh, it's just the players. No, I can't. I have to look at it and say that's coaching. And so as the coach is there, figure it out. I will also say penalties. Can't have them. Like I said, play sound football. Make your tackles. Wrap up. Handle your assignment in coverage. Don't commit penalties. Stupid roughing the passers, targeting, a hold or hold I'm not going to be too harsh on, but a false start. Don't get an unsportsmanlike on offense. Just things like that. Like, again, the Texas A&M game that I talked about earlier. I talked about it, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, something like that. Where that Texas A&M game, you lost by 13, okay? You extended 2 Texas A&M drives with penalties defensively, and they led to touchdown and extra points. That's 14 points. You gave up 14 points because of penalties. You lost by 13. That's a win if you don't do those. Simple as that. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free reviews in the podcast. We will be back tomorrow after the UCF game, talking hopefully about a win. Hopefully. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI, and I'll see you all next time.